Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Friday morning's meditation seminar. We've been listening to a form of the Chode, this practice and transmission of empowerment to open the body. So let's do what we always do. We're going to suspend our mind just a little bit and freeing our awareness. From being simply located in our mind to being located in its own self. And the Dzogchen understanding that if you can feel this difference between your mind and your awareness, then the path of embodying awareness is really easy. So we learn to suspend our mind just a bit and enter into awareness of awareness itself. And then we'll feel this formless, fluid, spacious, luminous state. Which has a vast horizon and is multidimensional. And we can experience it just as we are, completely just as we are. You don't have to become something other than yourself as you are. When we try that, we start waiting for a Godot. Quite never happens. Focus in now. Awareness. It's a bit like moving from our minds, going down the steps into our heart. It's giving up the security of the mind. For the sense of completeness that living in the awareness field gives us. So having even entered awareness just a little bit, and we can feel some of that space, moments of thought freeness, openness. Even if it's just a little bit, the practice of extension can become our own. So we extend this sense of awareness throughout our entire bodies, all the way down into the earth, and then all the way up to the heart, palate of the mouth, top of the head, to the sky. This also allows the column of energy of the subtle body to form. You can feel the self-arising of the presence. Then we'll extend the same awareness to each other, which is the immediacy of the situation. So one of the traditions of awareness is you extend to the immediacy of the situation. You extend the field. Bigger is better. We'll do that now. Inside to inside. As it says in the Yeshe Lama, it's like handbook, huh? The inner yin meets the outer yin. The inner field meets the outer field. And non-duality begins to manifest. Non-duality within duality. Or as the Dakini said to Dorje Lingpa, you and I are indivisible. There's a you, and there is an I. Then we'll extend to our ancestors, the mother and the fathers and friends, of which you and I are expressions. So we'll extend in mutual support. The light extending into the light. Or as the great Dzogchen Master Yongtang Rinpoche said, the great compassion, the absolute compassion, is the capacity to extend awareness into the other, into the presence of the other, the past, as well as the future. We'll do that with this understanding. Then we'll extend to the great teachers and yogis we've met in our life. Those people who embody awareness so completely that the invisible becomes felt. We'll especially extend to Lama Norla Rinpoche, who'll be coming here in a couple of weeks. So we extend to him inside to inside. In mutual support. Then we'll extend, and within each extension, the base of awareness becomes more firm, more embodied. So we'll extend to those different traditions that we participate in, huh? And all the different traditions themselves are bodies of information and light, of the articulation of different cultures over the centuries, of this ineffable awareness. We extend to the different traditions that meet in our bodies, huh? And they mix. And we become universal people. The tribal boundaries are thinning. And finally, we'll make one more extension of our own awareness into that dimension of our own awareness itself, which is so mysterious, ineffable. The archetypical dimension, those energies and vortexes, which we call the gods and goddesses, devas, dakinis. We'll extend there, bringing that up in us, opening in this space of awareness that the archetypical dimension can be felt, known as our own self. And this morning we'll focus on the Dakini, which is ultimately direct perception as the feminine form. And then we'll rest in this awareness, in this sea of chi, shakti, light, openness, no thingness. We were just hearing this chant of the Chode. And these practices are never literal. They're simply metaphors. The use of language to point, to indicate this innermost experience that is in certain ways beyond words and letters. The Chode practice is a practice for opening the body. Not simply the body of flesh, arms and fingers, noses. That's simply a metaphor. But the inner body, the body of the energy, the subtle body, the body of the light, the body of awareness. So it's to open the contracted, contained, locked in, dissociated, cut off, numb body. Opening it from within. It's a bit stretchy. Opening it. Opening. As the body of light opens for us, as awareness, which is ultimately this spacious luminosity, opens and comes through the body boundaries, then this vast sense of resonance begins to be felt. And the resonance, this attunement, this recognition of what's in me is in you, what's in you is in me, and is the very world itself, becomes a felt sense. And then one is able to live in this embodiment. Another theme that's greatly part of the Chode is a theme of disintegration and reintegration in our life. And that this appearing and disappearing, this coming and going, this sense of disintegration, falling, 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 then there's a space, and then we begin to reintegrate in a more cohesive, more embodied, fuller fashion. The yogis understand that this happens throughout the life cycle when you go from 1 to 2. And then you go from 14 to 20. Then you go from 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, 60, 70, 80, death. And they understand that this disintegrative process and then reintegration happens over and over and over again in the unfolding of awareness, and is actually method in the deepening embodying of the light of our own awareness. And for them, even death itself is a moment of disintegration. Then you go through the doorway of death, and there's reintegration. The Chode understands, the practice of the Chode, that this disintegration, reintegration experience is actually suffering. And in order to get beyond suffering, the Chode opens this awareness, this base of awareness that is not the mind. Because when you're in mind alone, that's what's disintegrating. When you and I are in mind alone, and whether it's from circumstances, illness, good fortune, whatever the catalyst is, if we're in mind alone, and we start to feel the disintegration, the falling apart, in order to reorganize in a more cohesive, embodied way. If you're in mind alone, you are disintegrating, and that is suffering. However, if you've shifted your base to awareness itself, and you're learning to live in this innermost space, of light, of energia, Shakti, then you can hold in your very awareness this disintegration, reintegration process with some degree of ease. That is the essence of the Chode practice. The great psychoanalyst Donald Winnicott also understood this, that when you and I are locked in mind alone, or even a favorite part of our mind, function of our mind, thinking alone, sensation alone, memory alone, feelings alone, that number one, it's very hard to process everything and anything that is happening in the unfolding of our life. In fact, mind alone cannot do it. You may have noticed that at least once or twice. It just can't do it. Winnicott understood, though, if you could shift into this space that underlies mind and body, this awareness has an enormous power for metabolization of experience. It's like a digestive system that really works. It metabolizes. It's fire. It's fire. It's fire. Dissolving what has to be dissolved. Metabolizing what has to be metabolized. Letting go what has to be let go. And moving on. The yogis describe meditation in the best sense, not as witnessing your mind. We do that already. But rather movement and profound stillness. Timeless awareness in time and time and timeless awareness. Perhaps you can even feel that at this moment. The practice of the Chode, if you just read it, it's just a bunch of words. So the power is not simply in the words, especially if you take the words literally. Like if you take many words literally, nothing happens. The power in the Chode is the power of the transmission. The awakening of awareness, the opening of the body of light. The breaking through contained states of seeming safety and suffering. Fixatedness. The Chode cuts through fixatedness. Sounds really good, doesn't it? Not always easy. Intense. 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 One of the great myths about meditation, but it's not a myth if you only meditate for a few moments every so often, and that is meditation is simply relaxation. Oh, just taking it easy. Meditation is opening the power of awareness to permeate your body and your mind. To undo fixatedness. Whatever that means for you, and whatever that means for me. Sometimes in these Chode traditions, whether it's in Shaivism or Dzogchen, Mahamudra, the symbol is a dagger. The symbol is the knife of cutting through circumstances, cutting through configurations of our own mind, opening. Om Ahung Bodhicitta Masuka Yanadatua. Om Ahung opens up the different dimensions of our own awareness. from being in the present, like in this room, opening that more. You can feel the energy and the light, the resonance, non-duality within duality, opening up the archetypical dimension, the energies, the primordial energies, and opening up pure awareness, pure potentiality, Dharmakaya. And the teachers, the great teachers of this tradition, are quite confident. This doesn't depend on earning it, merit, spiritual M&Ms. It doesn't depend on transforming your personality. It does depend on you and I becoming aware of our own awareness. And that the guru, the true guru, is not a person outside of you with a particular outfit, but rather the very light of your own awareness. And the more you and I attune to that, then it meets us completely and relentlessly. We'll meditate right now on the fire of awareness. awareness for some time now. So we'll have that practice of extension or transmission, where we extend this light of our own awareness to people we know and love who may be having difficulties, or may not be having difficulties either. We'll extend to them inside to inside. This is the great compassion. Every time you and I practice extension, it is the light of awareness arising and moving through our bodies, opening us and others. Then we'll extend to our city and all the cities. Carl Jung was very interested with the phenomena of projection. And at first he couldn't understand how come we project our mind so often on situations and people we know and love. And slowly but surely he realized that was one way of unburdening ourselves with our own mind. He also, in his own way, began to realize there's another medium that human beings have aside from projection for liberation of our mind, and began to discover the field in his own language, in his own way, and this self, this innermost awareness, this psyche, that is so close, and yet we have to step through our mind to experience what this primordial awareness offers us and everyone. It's not out there. It's everywhere. No one owns it. It's so natural. in the practices of Tantra and yoga. They're beneficent practices, which are really fantastic. And they're fierce practices, which are also fantastic and necessary. And we learn to combine them, integrate them as skillful means that support our knowing of knowingness, gnosis, and living in the field of awareness, life after life, and death after death. There's a great sermon by Sakyamuni Buddha. You might Google it. It's called the Fire Sermon. It's exquisite. With that understanding, we'll rub our hands together, place it on our hearts. I'd like to thank everybody for being here this morning. Tomorrow we'll not have Dakini practice online. And happy Easter and everything else. And we'll meet again next Friday. And if you'd like, you can meditate to 9 o'clock. Or there's also some refreshments upstairs. Thank you. Yeah, Lama Norla is going to be coming here on May 17th and 18th. And in Saturday morning, he will give the empowerment and teachings in Mahamudra. And Mahamudra is another form of meditation. It's very similar to Dzogchen, except that rather than differentiating our mind from our awareness, in that little process we went through this morning, and then integrating our mind, they start with the very nature of mind. So you go through your mind, and the nature of mind is awareness. It's very powerful. It's very, very direct. And it has its own lineage and masters. And he is a magnificent teacher and a master of the Mahamudra and the Chode. And then after that, in the afternoon, they will have the Majustri teachings in empowerment. And Majustri is the empowerment and bringing forth that archetypical energy, which all these archetypical energies are really in here, as well as experiencing them out there, duality within non-duality. And Majustri is the masculine side of Saraswati, and that is personification of wisdom. What it is that part of our very nature and part of our very personification is this wisdom of direct perception. And it goes through the qualities of Majustri and how to embody that and support and help bring forth this gnosis, this direct perception within ourselves and within our situations. And then the next day, he'll start with the Chode practice, and then in the afternoon, there will be some practicing it. The main thing is the empowerment and some understanding, because you can do it in a formal practice, but actually life itself is the practice. Thank you all, and we'll put that chant, which is a Chode again, we'll put that last number 14 on. Thank you.